Continuing Beyond Birth and Death, Chapter 2, Elevation at Death. It's a very provocative title. Sometimes we don't like to think about death. We think death is bad, but death is part of life. Actually, we cannot have one without the other. So what yoga does, it teaches us the absolute value. And that's why this book is called Beyond Birth and Death. Beyond birth and beyond death. So we don't see death as so bad. We go beyond death. This is how it begins. There are different kinds of transcendentalists who are called yogis, hatha yogis, jnana yogis, dhyana yogis, and bhakti yogis. And all of them are eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. So this is all the yogis. It's not only one yoga. There's the yoga of the body, hatha yoga, the yoga of knowledge. This is a very big system in India. By knowledge, you do yoga. You meditate, you contemplate, using your mind and your intelligence, you do yoga. Then dhyana is meditation. You sit down and you meditate. That's another kind of yoga. And bhakti. Bhakti yoga means devotion, doing the devotional yoga. So Prabhupada saying all of those are eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. This we call the material world. Higher than this is the spiritual world. The word yoga means to link up, and the yoga systems are meant to enable us to link with the transcendental world. So yoga means that connection with a higher reality, higher realm. If there's no connection, it's not real yoga. Like man, nowadays there's many yoga studios. Everyone wants to look good and feel good. That's not exactly yoga. The real yoga means connection with the higher world.
Okay.
As
More like meditation, right?
meditation is part of it. There's different types, but it's a big part, yes. As mentioned in the previous chapter, originally we are all connected to the Supreme Lord, but now we have been affected by material contamination. The process is that we have to return to the spiritual world. And that process of linking up is called yoga. Another meaning of the word yoga is, quote, plus. At the present moment, we are minus God or minus the Supreme. When we add Krishna or God to our lives, this human form of life becomes perfect. So this is the beautiful thing, that we have to just add God to whatever we do. Nowadays, there's things we do for God or we do for the temple or our church or our mosque, but then we have the other part of our life where we're busy. So the yoga, the linking is making everything, adding Krishna, adding God to everything we do, even brushing your teeth, tying your shoes, going out for a walk, how to connect that to Krishna. This is the yoga. At the time of death, we have to finish that process of perfection. During our lifetime, we have to practice the method of approaching that perfection, so that at the time of death, when we have to give up this material body, that perfection can be realized. Just like you just had a very scary, startling experience, and it makes us think, oh my God, how fragile is our life? So it's that final moment is going to come for us, and no one's ready for it. No one wants it, but that's unavoidable. So that's when we have to be ready to finish our yoga. So that's why this life is meant for the practice. See, in some traditions and religions, I studied a lot Christianity. There's an idea when you die, then you go to heaven and you get perfection. But that doesn't account what is the value of this life, why we should live in a certain way in this lifetime. So the actual thing is you should live this life to prepare for the next life. It's not that you don't have to prepare and then automatically poof, you just go there. The purpose of this life is to prepare us for that moment.
Got it.
So there's a Bhagavad Gita verse mentioned here. Prayana kale manas chalena bhaktya yukta yoga balena chaiva brivor madhye pranamaveshya samyak satam param purusham upaiti divyam. One who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows and in full devotion engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is saying that at that time of death, we have to remember the Supreme Lord. We have to meditate on God and not other things. Often when people are dying, they're thinking about their bank balance and their property or their dog,
Mm,
even their family. Those are the things that we cannot take with us. At that last moment, we have to think only about God. And that's what's this chapter of Bhagavad Gita describing. Prabhupada says, just as a student studies a subject for 4 or 5 years and then takes his examination and receives a degree, similarly with the subject of life, if we practice during our lives for the examination at the time of death, and if we pass the examination, we are transferred to the spiritual world. So the death is like a test or exam because everything that you thought about throughout our life, it's going to flash before us at that last moment. Whole life is going to flash before us. And whatever we thought about the most, whatever we meditated on, whatever really took the most of our consciousness, that's what our consciousness is going to be when we have to leave this body. So in order to pass that test, we have to practice now. We have to prepare our consciousness now. It's said that at the time of death, it's a very painful situation. The life air, it's like leaving the body. The soul is being pulled out of the body. We're so used to this body. It's like our home. It's like someone coming and pulling you out of your house. It will be very,
yeah.
very traumatic. So when the soul has to leave this body, we don't want to go. We're used to this. We identify with it. We're used to this world. So we're very attached. But that exam means we practice during our life to prepare for that. We did bhakti yoga, devotional meditation. We started to remember Krishna, to think about God, to pray to God, and to meditate, to absorb ourselves in that spiritual reality. So he says our whole life is examined at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajanti ante kalevaram tam tam me vaiti konteya sadatad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state will attain without fail. So that last moment, that's what determines where we go, what our consciousness is like. So therefore, it's a big responsibility, human life. And some people, they cultivate positive thoughts, spiritual thoughts. So their consciousness is more uplifted. And some people, they never think about God. They don't want to think about religion. So their consciousness becomes more and more lower. It becomes more like animalistic, actually, just looking to enjoy, eat, or sleep. So if our consciousness becomes more animalistic without spirituality, then guess what? There's so many species, other species. So we can go into a different species, which is meant
Mm.
for those things.
Ah,
Like a puppy,
cute puppies,
cute
kitty
puppy.
cats.
It's cute for us. It's cute for us to look at, but it's
Yeah,
not so cute to be a dog.
I know.
Dog has suffering a lot. He's just trapped. He can't speak. He can't think. He's just
I
like
know.
smelling other dogs.
For babies.
Yeah,
I
so
love my dogs.
yeah. So the idea is that at that last moment, whatever one thinks of, that's going to transfer them. Here's another statement. There's a Bengali proverb that says that whatever one does for perfection will be tested at the time of his death. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes what one should do when giving up the body. For the dhyana yogi, the meditator, Sri Krishna speaks the following verse. He says, persons learned in the Vedas who utter Om, the Omkar, and who are great sages in the renounced order, they enter into Brahman. That means like the great spirit. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy, I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart, and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. So now we're going to discuss one of these kinds of yoga, which is called meditation, dhyana. And God explains this system. It's one of the systems of the yoga path. In the yoga system, this process is called pratyahara, which means just the opposite. Although during the life, the eyes are engaged in seeing worldly beauty, at death, one has to retract the senses from their objects and see the beauty within. You see, if you look at our body, our mind, our head, all of our senses, they're looking outward.
Yeah.
But he's saying now you have to look inward, that inner universe that we forget about. We often are not so conscious of what's within us, but the yoga process means now I have to turn my attention back within. All my life I spend it outside, but what is really inside? That's even more important. So it says that the ears are accustomed to hearing so many sounds in the world, but at the moment of death, one has to hear the transcendental Om, the Omkar. That means the sound Om. This is a very powerful mantra, Om.
Yes.
Om. So that's also mentioned in the Gita. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. So this is one method. In the beginning, Prabhupada said all these methods can take one to the spiritual world. So this is the method for the meditator. It's interesting, no?
Super.
In this way, all the senses have to be stopped in their external activities and concentrated on the form of Vishnumurti, the form of God. The mind is very turbulent, but it has to be fixed on the Lord in the heart. When the mind is fixed within the heart and the life air is transferred to the top of the head, one can attain perfection in yoga. So the form of God is within the heart, and God is there with us. But sometimes we don't turn to him. We look outside, we look everywhere else, but we can meditate that God is in my heart. I don't have to go anywhere. And that body is the temple. So we come to the temple to see the Lord and be with devotees, but at the same time, the body is also the temple. So
Yeah.
we are already in the temple, and God is also there inside. He's inside of us, and he's just waiting for us. So meditation is when we start to turn to him and meditate, concentrate within. At this point, the yogi determines where he is to go. In the material universe, there are innumerable planets, and beyond this universe, there is a spiritual universe. The yogis have information of these places from Vedic literatures. Just as one going to America can get some idea what the country is like by reading books, one can also have knowledge of the spiritual planets by reading Vedic literatures. The yogi knows all these descriptions and he can transfer himself to any planet he likes without the help of spaceships. Space travel by mechanical means is not the accepted process for elevation to other planets. Perhaps with a great deal of time, effort, and money, a few men may be able to reach other planets by material means, spaceships, spacesuits, etc. But this is a very cumbersome and impractical method. In any case, it is not possible to go beyond the material universe by mechanical means. The generally accepted method for transferal to higher planets is the practice of the meditational yoga system, or Jnana system. The Bhakti Yoga system, however, is not to be practiced for transferal to any material planet, for those who are servants of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, are not interested in any planets in this material world because they know that on whatever planet one enters in the material sky, The four principles of birth, old age, disease, and death are present. So there are higher planets. We can see with our eyes different material planets, but there's higher realms, more angelic, the angels, the heavenly realms. One can go there. A lot of religions, they say you should serve God, you should obey God, because then you go to heaven. And what
Yeah.
happens? And what happens in heaven? You get to enjoy, you get to be happy, but even that is temporary because there you have a different body. It's not like a physical body, but the body itself also is temporary. Everything in the material realm, so even the heaven, it's still part of the material realm. The only place that's completely beyond that is the spiritual world. It's completely transcendental. That's the kingdom of God.
So heaven, heaven is basically when you behave good here.
Yep,
So you gain like some good points, let's say. Then you
exactly.
go and you can enjoy that, and then
Yeah. It's like
oh
a big
God.
party, a big festival, but then at some point the party's over. You lose your credits. Then
Okay.
you ran out of points. Then they kick you out. It's
Then
like,
go back here.
yeah, you come back here. It's like going to a club. They let you in. It was a great time, but then they close and you have to
Yeah.
get out. So
Okay.
that's like heaven.
Okay.
So he says on higher planets, the duration of life may be longer than on this earth. They live for 10,000 years in heaven. But death is there nonetheless. But then they have to come back. They come back to this material. So this world where we are, this Bhumi, this is the middle planetary system. This is where we can go beyond birth and death. This is where we can transcend even heaven. We have to go even beyond heaven. By material universe, we refer to those planets where birth, death, old age, and death reside. And by spiritual universe, we refer to those planets where there is no birth, old age, disease, and death. Those who are intelligent do not try to elevate themselves to any planet within the material universe. So, yeah, we can go beyond disease. We're not meant to get disease. It's very unnatural. That's why it's so uncomfortable. It's like, what? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
We're not meant to do that. The whole material body is a disease. See, the whole body itself that's the disease that we have because the body will always have some problem. So it's not that we can fix this and patch that. Eventually, this body is problematic in of itself. So eventually, by spiritual realization, we have to transcend the body. Then no more birth, no more disease, no more old age, no more death. Then we become eternal. We are eternal, but we're identifying with the body. And it's very hard to break that identification. It can only be done through the yoga process. And all of the processes are, we say, the highest realm, the highest step of all the yogas is the devotion or bhakti, because that's transcendental exchange of love. So we didn't get to it yet, but this book also talks a lot about bhakti yoga. Now we're talking about meditation yoga. But when you do bhakti, when you serve Krishna, you are automatically getting out of that cycle of birth and death. You're developing not material points, but spiritual points. The material points can take you to heaven, but the spiritual points, they take you back to God. So we want to build more, get more and more spiritual points. Then it becomes a very powerful love, starts awakening in our heart. And when that love is so strong, like a blazing fire, then you go to where your beloved is. And then we go to that spiritual realm where there's no birth, no old age, no disease, and no death. So we shouldn't try to just go to heaven or just remain in this world. Ultimately, we cannot stay here forever, and you got a wake-up call. So now we have to get more serious about bhakti.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll keep it short today. Maybe I stop there.